So then Jim Ross sat down with Kenny Olivier about his Uncle Don, which apparently now he still feels like Don is still an uncle, but he's not as nice as Uncle Larry. When Olivier speaks, you realize why he's never going to make it as the big star, the major star in wrestling, the great. He may be the great artist that people have deluded themselves in their mind on, in the Tokyo Dome and in this little setting here, but he's never going to be Cody Rhodes because he can't talk. He sounds like a complete bag. And
that was heavily edited. That was clipped real tight, like nonstop.
Are you kidding? Was edited in a fucking mix master. It was cut to ribbons. But he sounds like a douchebag, and he says nothing in an interesting way, and it sounds like he cares little about what he's talking about. And in this one,
he explains how Don Callis is not his family, but did nice things for him, and then says, well, you can't choose your family. Yes, you literally did, because he's not your family. That's what you just said.
Well, because they were cutting it up, that, they were trying to make it make sense, but he was not mad. He wants to move on from this, not get even. This is what he's saying before the shit goes down. Because believe me, in every segment of this program, the shit is going to go down. But he wasn't mad at the heel's betrayal of him. I'm going to move on. I still I just need to get past this. What kind of fucking pussy? Dickless, ballless, gutless, fucking babyface wrestling hero gets betrayed by the goddamn heel and wants to move on.
Jim Ross, he stabbed you in the head with a screwdriver.
He said that. He said, well, he did stab you in the head with a screwdriver. I just want to move on. So how can you... I mean, it's almost like they're trying on purpose to bring the joke to life that Punk said, I'm sorry, that, you're the only people softer than you are the fucking wrestlers you like, and they are out there in a contest to prove that they are the softest people on earth. So he wants to move on, not get even with the family member that stabbed him in the head with a screwdriver because he's a fucking gutless douchebag. But then here comes Don Fowlis. And as he comes in and says about 3 words, Gin and Juice come in from the back and fakely beat up Twinkle Toes, and Take a Shit helps them. And they're in the empty Daly's place in Jacksonville in this giant, stadium they have down there, doing this interview. So they take him over and they bash him against a garage door, whatever the fuck. And it just looked so hokey. And JR just had to get up and shake his head and walk off.
But the camera cuts, the way it was cut, it was hysterical. Because it was just like, boom,
keeps
boom,
going back
boom,
to him to get the reaction shot of JR standing there going, God, that cowboy would have fired all of them for this phony-looking shit.
And the best thing is, because it's in an empty arena, you get a lot of, acha, acha,
yeah,
acha.
They're making their own sound effects. Hush, 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 acha, acha, acha. Nobody does that. That was some Bruiser Brody shit. Harley Race used to go cha-cha-cha when he was in the ring calling spots, but you don't do it in a goddamn fight in a parking lot. But again, we established that the guy got stabbed in the head with a screwdriver and he wasn't mad about it. So now they beat him up, but they didn't stab him. So I guess he shouldn't be too mad about this.
Whoever edited this needs to go work for Adult Swim. It was hysterical. The way it was cut just made it into a comedy segment. There's no other way to look at it. It was ridiculous.
But now I was like, oh, geez, because again, instead of getting Gin and Juice against FTR 3 out of 5 falls, or whatever would have been a classic wrestling match that would have torn Wembley Stadium apart, we're getting FTR against the Buckaroos, and Gin and Juice are tied up with these fucking cretins and their childishness. So there we go.
Well, no, this was the episode where beyond Punk, everything that has been enjoyable from Collision was dragged over to the world of Dynamite. That's what this episode was. And in some cases, on multiple times on the same show. This was really bad. Omega can't talk, as we've always said, but it was cut in a way that made the whole thing funny. Jim Ross really added to it because, you know, he thinks this whole thing is ridiculous. And the way they edited the footage of him into it made the whole thing funny. I thought that was hysterical. I'm going to keep this on the DVR. I wonder if they could top this in terms of ridiculousness, and they did in the next segment.
We didn't have to wait too long because now, since that sit-down interview was taped sometime back before, earlier today, whenever it was, time has elapsed.